Hey, Deef, can I ask you why you record the video of these? What the video is for?
What do you think?
I have no idea.
What answer do you want?
He masturbates to it later.
No, it's for legality and security purposes, people, for quality control.
Quality control. That's one thing.
When you miss a session, he can send it to you, or he can make fun of some crazy thing you said in a session, or yeah.
So you don't post these for other viewing purposes.
Well, it does end up on YouTube.
What other viewing purposes are you asking? To stalk members? What?
Or for being stalked, I guess.
Or
Yeah.
maybe to highlight like the evolution of a narcissist over months, you know? I
Right.
don't care.
Well, we know no narcissist would ever watch that because there's nothing they hate more about themselves than that story.
That is the other fact. People
Yeah.
are assuming that narcissist
No.
is stalking them, that they
No,
would have
they
the
don't.
patience to search through all these YouTube videos
Yeah, right. They've never
and
known
watch
a real
through all the
narcissist.
meeting to get junk on you to use
Isn't
you
that funny?
for leverage.
Yeah. They've never known a real narcissist because no narcissist would ever waste their time doing that.
But I do understand there is paranoia. But
I would also like to commend you at how technologically advanced these videos are. They're all I can see my own words like showing up in the captions as I speak them. That's incredible.
That's only if you
Yes.
speak clearly.
That helps me a lot, actually.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Because you feel safe about that. That's good.
Those caption is available. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, look down.
here,
Look down there,
all
James.
this for quality control. Or I could just do secrecy, never watch it, and just lie to myself. If I did good or bad, I'll just say, I did good, fuck everybody else. So I'll be a narcissist.
I like Deep.
Gaslight
Deep
myself.
knows what he's doing. Deep is covering his bases.
You're talking more than I
We
do.
should all do that.
Ooh.
Jeff.
So Deep, can we turn it over to you? I'd like to hear you kind of direct this and hear what anybody here who's done their homework thinks about the Rich and Grannon videos, even if it was the pretty part where he's flying his kite on the beach randomly. I want to hear everything.
But you're
We're
directing.
getting there.
Let Deep direct. You just directed Deep to direct. Let Deep direct.
I'm not
Sorry.
directing.
My bad.
I'm just here to welcome.
You are correct.
And I wanted to get everyone in line. So there's a waitlist person I had to put in. Not Monica. But
Oh, I think that was me, wasn't it? I was on the wait list.
Hi, guys.
last minute one. Okay, this is the answer to simplify.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere.
Yes, I
There
can
is
fix your
no
cart.
sincere
Car
communication with
But
the
that's not this
insincere.
meeting.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is
If you
there
get
is
this,
no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere.
then you can play the game.
I am dying. That is so funny. Thank you for repeating that on a loop.
We'll repeat it more later, but when this sinks in, you realize their communication is not sincere. It's
I
not
know.
designed to accurately describe their state or your state. Then you can free up some mental energy because you're trying to make sense of insincere communication. You're trying to debate fairly where they don't care, where they're cheating. And then after they cheat, you want to go to teacher, you want to go to umpire, you want to go to your therapist to get them to not cheat. But there is no, or I don't know of a communication police. Or the only ones they do is, that's tone police, to silence people.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is
How's that falling?
I like that, Deef. That worked out.
Perfect.
That's all the material I have.
I'd like to mention something. So I was watching this earlier. I
Question.
will take
Nope.
that as a no. Never mind. No, that's fine. No, so it's 16:13 in that clip. I was laughing my butt off. He says, you'll have to listen to it, but he goes, well, you actually kind of have to hear it to understand the context. But he says that if you fall into their trap, essentially, you'll be living as a, pardon my French, if there are any children here, but you'll be living as a fucking elf, you know? So basically says that they promise you that you'll have this fantastic life, but they'll suck your soul dry, they'll suck your blood dry, they'll do all this, but you'll be living as an elf. Isn't that fucking great? You know, and if you listen to Richard Grannon, you know that's how he talks, right? Very funny.
Oh.
And true to
Let's
life.
see. Let's try this. So we're going to start off with memes. Because too many words are
Sorry, my bad.
complicated for me. Because I have brain damage. And I have a stutter. And I'm told I have all these deficiencies from a life reading I got. So I'm still feeling shame from that. So I'm just gonna be broken.
Cognitive overload. Anytime your brain is faced with a mysterious message or a cliffhanger, your brain becomes hooked until it finds out.
What happened? Did the video break? Was it complete? Why is it so loud? So it's too loud. I'm not going to fix it. But let me play it again and see if anyone gets the message.
Cognitive overload. Anytime your brain is faced with a mysterious message or a cliffhanger, your brain becomes hooked until it finds out.
Why'd the video break? Did anyone notice that? What's people's reaction to the video?
Well, there's the cliffhanger.
She's overloading in her projection.
Cognitive overload. She's doing it in the voice is a little high, which is overload. And then the description of the hook didn't finish. Right?
Cognitive overload. Anytime your brain is faced with a mysterious message or a cliffhanger, your brain becomes hooked until it finds out.
How to finish it. Until it finds out what? Does anyone see the hook?
Did she leave the video that way?
No, I did.
Yeah.
But wait, I think
I did it.
Trying to create a mystery in our minds so we're hooked, so we can't leave, and we have to. Our brains are hooked. We need to solve the mystery now. We can't ever leave.
That's why we need Crystal.
Thank
She
you.
saw the hook. We're looking for the attack, the aggressive trigger of the narcissist. But first they overload you. They hook you. Then they escalate, usually. They need to get it in. So by hooking you, confusing you, promising something in the future, that controls your perception, that gets you wondering, but that also gets you doubting, like what's happening, what's going to come next. So it's sowing paranoia, but it's also sowing anticipation. So the same technique can be used positively or negatively. I'm using it to try to build anticipation, but I could also use it to try to confuse you. So now play it.
Is that
Crystal?
like similar to intermittent reinforcement, like Pavlov's dogs, intermittent reinforcement, like kind of? Same. No.
Well,
Yes.
if I leave you hanging, you're chasing after the hook. And then if I give it to you intermittently, where you can't guess when it's coming, then it amplifies your dopamine, which is what social media does, where you're swiping. We're being robots. So, this is the context of the video after I hooked you to try to get you aware of your cognitive overload, your curiosity hook. It's not Richard Grannon. This one. Grannon's coming later.
We've all been the victim of a good cliffhanger, whether it's your favorite television show or mystery novel. It's how they hook to make sure you tune.
Now, someone who said she was too overpowering, you can see that I can see that she's overacting. She's trying a bit hard to sell this. Does anyone notice that? Or any other initial reads? She's not used to being on camera, and the editors are adding a lot of extra sound effects.
Tune in next week to find out what happens. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret, a way you can hook your friends the next time you're out or at dinner, and you don't even need your own television show.
So that's a hook. I'm going to teach you how to hook other people, to manipulate other people. Do you see how your perception is being pulled? Not just by the music, but by the opening pitch. Does anyone remember Tom, who used to be a regular for the in-person meetings? He used to do the hook of, there's 3 things. And then he'd go into the first one, and oftentimes he'd never get to the third one, because by the time he's got to number 2, he did a segue to another 3 things. So I would counter it by rushing him. I go, 3 things. Okay, what's number 2? What's number 3? I'd try to keep him on point to neutralize his hook. Because he would tend to, there's 3 things. Number 1, maybe he gets to number 2. But then he has side story. Takes up 10 minutes. Then he says, there's another 3 things. Forgetting number 3 and losing the point. But it was amazing technique, which I copied. So I started. So you can use the same tactics.
And you healed him because he doesn't come back. Good job, Dave.
He was able to be self-sufficient. Yeah.
In a second, I'm going to ask you a question. But first, I just need to take
That's another hook. I'm going to ask you a question. But wait. First, what's this wait?
care of something.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no...
Now the music amplifies, but she's writing a letter, taking time. And the body language, it's in a box. We can't see what the letter is. So if you're following the video, your attention was from the question, and now it's on this box, non-verbally.
Okay, quickly, tell me, what is the capital of Colorado? Did you get it?
What is the capital of Colorado? How many people answered the question?
Boulder?
Why?
Capital.
There's no prize. You're talking to a video. You don't need to answer people's questions in your head.
I couldn't help myself. I said it out loud.
See?
I couldn't
You can't help yourself.
I could
But
not.
I warned you.
I couldn't.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is.
So I would try to, when I'm trying to be sincere, I can also be insincere. But when I'm trying to be sincere, I'll ask questions to communicate, to have a dialogue with you. But I can also ask questions insincerely, just to waste your mind, just to distract you, just to give you cognitive overload, to confuse you.
Yeah, so
I
she's
think she is actually triggering me, and I hate her.
yeah. So first of all,
Wait, you need to
I'm
clap.
not interested in hooking people. Sorry.
That disgust mechanism, I hate her, I'll stop listening. That's a good strategy.
Yes.
That's
I mean,
boundaries. What?
She's saying, I'm going to teach you how to hook people. I'm not even interested in hooking people. Then she
That's a
puts a
good
note in
block.
a box. I don't really care what's written on the note in the box. And now she's saying, what's the third? She's just lost
What's
me.
the
Like,
capital?
what's the capital Boulder?
know what she's
You're
talking about
wasting my
anymore.
time. I'm like, you're wasting my
Of
time.
Colorado.
I would turn this video off and I would look for something else to watch because she's done.
I would have already walked away because first of all, she's not enjoyable to watch. Second of all, I have no idea what the content is.
There's three
She's
things.
getting to it.
There's
Thank you,
three
Holly.
things.
Oh, that's Tom's tactic. But same dynamic.
Okay, but what if she was like a man and he was fine, you know, and we were like, yeah. I mean, does it matter that she's a female? Is it meant to appeal to men only? Who knows? You know, I'm just
Maybe.
throwing it out there.
That is true.
That's
She
a
might be
wicked
In my
trying
case,
to-
I just
If
hate
she were
her.
handsome and saying something, yeah, really, really, really good point. Thank you.
That's the charisma of the narcissist. They'll do impression management of looking good, so you'll entertain what they're saying because they look nice.
Yeah.
Okay, she's almost getting there, I think.
I bet you did. Most folks know that the capital of Colorado is Denver. But that's not the real game we're playing
It's
here.
Denver.
Did it maybe take you a second longer to answer than it should have? And is it because you were curious and thinking about what was written on that piece of paper? And are you still...
Those are add-on techniques. Those are judgments. That's shaming. I didn't notice that first time. Let's see. These things.
And is it because you were curious and thinking about what was written on that piece of paper? And are you still wondering? If you...
So, she's pulling your attention. Actually, yeah, this is a better example than I thought. Ooh. I didn't update the screen.
Hey,
I
Deep,
am
real quick, like,
such a loser.
who is that attractive lady? Who is she?
I think it was in the beginning of the video. Let me see.
The woman that
55
you keep
seconds.
switching out with Richard Grannon. The woman in the black and white, like, you know, no sleeve dress. I wonder who that is.
This person. Does that make you
Very
happy?
good. Are you good? Yes, thank you.
Because she's provoking your anxiety. So you're wanting some certainty because she's pulling the string of it's coming next. It's coming next. It's about to come. That's creating cognitive overload. But then in this point, she added judgment and shame right here, I think, which I didn't notice first time I watched.
Did you get it? I bet you did. Most folks know that the capital...
Most folks know that's the capital, and then the hammer comes right after it. So there's a fake cookie. I'm saying most people know this, but
No, not people,
you're
folks.
you're an idiot.
She's super smart.
Well, that's
Very
also a sort of a judgment. Yeah.
Hey, I say folks.
Denver.
Oh, folks,
I say
It's a
stop
folks.
triggering
colloquialism,
other
everybody.
people. I like
Just a
folks. I'm
Gender
folksy.
neutral
Yes.
addressing of the group.
I don't like y'all.
Okay.
Literally,
So
we can
first
talk
she
about this
said-
later. I ground my kids if they say y'all. But yes, go on.
Most folks
I-
would get it fast. Then she has the boomerang.
That's not the real game we're playing here.
That's not the real game we're playing here. That's to provoke shame in you. Does anyone see that?
I absolutely see that. In fact, I had to turn the sound off for about 10 minutes when I was
Mhm.
trying to make dinner with my family. And just seeing her face and not knowing who she was, even, I was like enraged. I was ready to punch somebody. And I didn't even
Yes,
know what she was
that's
saying.
the tactic.
So yes, I know
She's
it.
smiling
You're right. Yep.
and she's talking nice, but you want to punch her face.
Same.
That's what happened to me. I got upset from somebody who was bleeding their suicide bullshit.
Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
These signals of, oh, I'm so pitiful, therefore you must please me and comfort or do all these things to comfort me because I'm broken. And I wanted to punch his face, but it's on messages. It's via meetup message. But he looks nice and it doesn't, you can't see the suicide. You can't see the cognitive, you can't see this part.
Ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
On the surface, it's not there. But it's an
Can
emotional.
someone just tell me what ostentatious means? I'm
Overdone.
It's
Overdone,
oversold.
big, large, huge, out of boundary with regards to size and manner.
Yeah.
That's
no,
a good
no holding
definition.
back. Just saying whatever they want, highlighting
Like,
it.
This could
Well, it's
be an
exaggerated.
ostentatious bag of granola if it was huge.
It's an exaggerated emotional plea.
Yeah. No excuse for what they're saying. Everything just loud and bold.
It's
okay.
But if someone's good, they'll make it somewhat invisible. It's a plea, but it triggers your
Invisible.
inner child.
Ostentatious.
Usually it's invisible. It's this.
Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
It's a mindfuck, like this.
Hey,
We have to be
Okay.
calm. We can't be panicked. We have to be calm. We can't be panicked. We have to be calm. We can't be panicked.
He's saying
Now
calm,
that
but
is
he's
fun.
panicked. He's anxious, but he's saying calm. That creates cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance essentially means the bad feeling you get when your map of reality doesn't match the reality that you're faced with.
That's another style of cognitive overload. They say one thing, and then their emotions are another thing.
Understood.
Good question.
I feel that in a lot of people, though.
Yes.
I feel it all the time. But when I
Juliana,
call out
you're right.
people, when I feel this, obviously, this dissonance, I get called out because people don't want to see the two layers because that creates cognitive dissonance in them.
Cognitive dissonance essentially means the bad feeling you get when your map of reality.
So when I see the cognitive dissonance early, I try to point it out. I try to call it out. Other people don't see it. I get called out. Because the emotional manipulator,
Where do you get
they have a
called?
better smile.
What do you
They-
mean? How do you get
They
called
seem
out?
nicer.
Remember the video of the Central Park Coopers? She just got off for that whole,
I have that.
streaming thing. So I was reviewing it with some high school kids because I'm working with high school kids right now for a moment. And it was very good for them to see that there's dissonance in her moving toward him, right? Telling her, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to tell them you were da 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 to me in the park, moving toward him while saying she was afraid, right? Like she's crying and like over dramatizing.
We're talking about Karen.
Oh wait,
What about Karen and
here
the,
it is.
Yeah.
And the
Please
barbecue
don't come
girls?
close to me.
Yeah.
Please don't come close to me. Please call the cops.
Oh my gosh.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African American man threatening my life. There is
Saying
an
that and she's walking toward me.
I am in Central Park. He is recording me.
Oh, you wanted to point out how she's walking. She's being aggressive.
Right. She's being
So, yeah.
aggressive. You can only hear her words. So like,
But her words don't match.
Yeah.
That is not cognitive dissonance, you guys. Cognitive dissonance is living in a state of two alternate realities that are competing with each other without losing your mind. Part of your mind saying this is normal, and the other part is saying this is not normal. What she was experiencing was a state of shock. That was, I mean, a fight or flight type of situation. That was totally different. That poor girl.
Fired the next day because she totally inappropriately acted. It was totally cognitive dissonance. She even
Hey, who
called it
said
that.
that?
She got fired.
The lady that said that just now.
She made this all up.
Oh yeah, what? No,
This
she was
time it's
upset.
different.
People are getting triggered.
Watch the
Let's
news.
switch an example. Because
My
we
bad.
could play with that. But that's going down a black
I
hole.
am new. I am new.
I was more talking about the example that he gave, not you. Don't worry about it.
Let's see. Let's start here
The
then.
first key principle of the mind games that they like to use is isolation and perception control. You'll notice that when the narcissist is targeting the person, they really want to cut them off from any other source of information.
So I was keying in on perception control. If the person or me or anybody else gives you cognitive overload, which is
Cognitive
this.
overload. Anytime your brain cognitive overload.
Okay, that's perception control. That's hooking you. If I promise 1, 2, 3, now I'm pulling your perception.
Hey, Dee, you know what's funny is that right after he put that in the video, he, for whatever reason, flashes to the beach for whatever reason, and he finishes like that thought like on a balcony, and then he goes back to his studio. But it's kind of funny. I almost commented on it. I was like, very nice segue that you motion towards the beach for isolation.
It was a
and
little
perception.
bit
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
weird editing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or affirmation that would run contrary to the narrative that they're feeding the target. A really important
that's a weird
key element
cut.
to applying this principle effectively is to alter the emotional state of the target.
So altering the emotional state, cognitive dissonance, cognitive overload, or these stronger emotions.
If you can get them very frightened, if you can get them very angry,
Fear,
if you can get
anger.
them to respond from a primal place.
To trigger your primal emotion, that makes you, opens up your intimacy, allows you to take in more of what they're saying.
Mentally and emotionally, it's much, much easier to control and manipulate their perception.
You give up your frame to the person who's in a stronger emotional state. That's why I lose when I call out people, because I call out people in a neutral state, or I try to be as neutral and calm as I can. But the person on the other side has a stronger primal state. And if people don't see the behavior, they're going to side with the victim, with the person playing victim, with the person who's too ostentatious, the person who's doing
Cognitive dissonance essentially means
not
That's
this.
bad feeling.
in the chat. If you read the chat,
Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
What's in the chat?
it says from, I don't want to pronounce it wrongly, Haya or J. Areo says, if I said it wrong, sorry. We're sitting here pointing out all these abuse techniques, but if we point it out and they're in power, then what good was it to point it out, is the person is asking.
Part 2.
It's a good question.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
Offensive strategies are part 2, or next week, or 2 weeks from now. Right now, you got to get awareness. We're playing defense. But that's also because the prior video was giving you hooks, anticipation hooks. So now you guys want to react and get the answers fast. Yes. That's how strong perception control is.
Jeff, can you just wave so we know you're alive? That's all. Thank you. You're sitting there like stone, like not moving. Is that a real person? Thank you.
That's what Allison's job is. Make sure people haven't died on the meeting.
It's just the doll that you put there.
Was Jeff in bed as well?
Always.
Jeff is
He lives
chilling.
there.
Perception control is the hook. You're going to see that everywhere in social media. Every time you want to click or swipe, that's perception control. A narcissist, borderline abuser, they'll use that too, but then they're going to also amplify with fear, judgment, anger, shame.
In fact, they'll quite willingly hand their perceptual filters over into your hands. Isolate.
So the magic whiteboard comes. Does that create a sense of authority, or is that triggering? Are people ready for the whiteboard? When Richard gets the whiteboard, magic just comes out.
Listen, Richard is magic, okay?
You see how I'm slowing things down to try to stretch the anticipation, to build that hook so you can feel when your brain's getting full. But I'm going to deliver. I'm going to let you see. Where an abuser will pull you and never deliver, or only deliver once out of 10 times. Then that's
They never deliver.
intermittent reinforcement.
She's
by
right.
not
There's not a
delivering.
90%. There's not a 90% failure rate. It's 100%.
Yeah. So you're really hungry for end of story, for closure, for something, because you're just constantly pulling you, then leaving you. That's rude. That's disrespectful. That's a stiff arm. That's what happened in my life rating. I'm paying for a life rating. $150. I get hung up on because I'm asking questions, and I'm blamed for being disrespectful.
No, Deef, they'll blame you for anything. You could look the wrong way and you could be disrespectful. Before you talk about his whiteboard, I just want to say that I think I might have read this earlier, but I just wanted to say this was my remark to the homework. I said it's so funny that we think nothing of little children doing this, splitting their parents' allegiances, twisting their parents' words around, then declaring everything is a lie and unfair before stomping off. An adult does it, and we are watching Grannon and his whiteboard breakdown, genius I might add, of what has happened, right?
Yes, because of this. This is the secret teaching. If you can get this, everything's easier.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere.
With a kid, you know it's insincere. You can spot the fakeness. Just because they're physically an adult using bigger words, it can still be fake, insincere. And then if you play sincerity back, you lose.
Yeah.
period.
22 years.
For 22 years. Yeah. Okay, whiteboard. See, that's my job. To circle back. Finish the story. I could just segue somewhere else and be an asshole. Though if attention went somewhere else, we can. But a good, honest host would give you a hook, but connect it later. That's just rude to not finish the story.
And frighten or enrage the target, the person.
So I was frightened. I was called disrespectful. And then I was enraged because I was silenced for the whole meeting. But then I'm suddenly frightened because I wasn't expecting to get shut down.
Or the target population. So you isolate them, cut them off from alternative points of view, and then you take them into a heightened emotional state. You panic them, you frighten them, or you enrage them.
And one technique is speed. So I'm slowing things down, checking with you as an audience that, are you keeping up? Do you get this? Do you get this? If the abuser speeds up communication and jumps to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, that's more cognitive overload. So when I have a stutter, that actually helps you slow down and digest. But someone who's linguistically fast, ADHD, they can just keep going fast and you're just chasing.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a movie that is a real allegory of this whole process this morning called Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. Y'all should look at it.
Behind Their Eyes. Netflix.
Wait, what's it called? Say it
Did you see that, my dear Adria? Was that on Netflix, you said, or Prime, or what?
It's in the chat.
It was behind her eyes. Okay.
Behind Her Eyes.
Yeah, everybody's
Okay.
talking.
That's the nature of noise and of groups. We're going to have to sort through the noise with this large of a group and this kind of triggering content.
Use the raise your hand function.
We could do that too. Or there's the chat. So throw it in the chat.
Do that, Brenda, or I'm an obnoxious blurter and I can't stop myself.
But I love you, Crystal.
Aww.
Work, they make me use the hand now because, well, we all know why. So I'm with you.
Causing them to go into a more primal frame of mind in which...
So he's calling it primal frame. I would add a different angle that you go into instinctive mind, reptile brain, or limbic brain. So if you don't work on your emotional flashbacks, you revert to inner child, fawning. So all they have to do is overload your frontal cognitive functions. You revert back to limbic. People pleasing to parent. Listen to superego. And they control the narrative. They control the frame. You lose. Because
there is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the...
And scaling out.
Narcissistic abuse made simple. The narcissist uses words and language skillfully to attack the target's sense of self. The target's sense of self is constructed from language, from words, and from concepts.
So they're attacking your sense of self with high emotions. Fear, anger, judgment, pity, ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
Ostentatious displays of vulnerability. Ostentatious displays of vulnerability.
what you're doing makes me feel uncomfortable. I might kill myself, and it's your fault. How fair is that?
I like the repetition you use. It really helps me.
Because I'm trying to repeat to get the truth in. They're repeating to get their lies into your head.
Yeah, they
That it's
repeat
your
it anyway,
fault.
don't they?
That
They
it's your
repeat it
fault.
over and over and over also. So.
Yes, but they're gaslighting their content, their shadow crap onto you. They're doing this.
The narcissist entrains you. Your brain
My
and his
hero.
brain become one brain.
Sam Vaknin.
Vaknin! Woohoo!
The narcissist interferes with your dreams and resonates with your wounds.
They're
There is
connecting
no greater intimacy.
to your wounds.
The narcissist interferes with your dreams.
They're connecting
and resonates
to your trauma.
Resonate with my dark
There is no
side.
greater intimacy.
Resonate with my
The
dark
narcissist
side,
interferes
Sammy.
with your
That's
dreams
why
and resonates with your wounds.
you need
There
to
is no greater intimacy.
integrate
The narcissist
your
interferes-
shadow, because they're connecting to your unprocessed trauma and shadow. That's another hook, because their trauma resonates with your trauma. Ooh. Okay.
Their perceptions
Back to
are
here.
much easier to skew. In fact, their perceptions are already skewed as soon as they've gone into that mental state.
Ooh, that was it.
Hey, Deef. I feel so badly. You can, ban me from your future meetings. I love this. I'm so excited about this. But I gotta say, I don't think that like putting together Richard Grannon with Vaknin. Number one, I've never seen an interview between the two of them. If you have one,
Actually, they did
really?
collaborate.
Because I'd love to see it. Like I can't imagine. Well, if I did watch it, I have to imagine it would not go how I'd want it to go.
They
Oh, you
have
know what?
No,
You're right. I did see it.
they worked
You know what?
together.
I did see it back in college. Yeah, that was. It's old, right? It's got to be at least 5-some years old, 8 years
They
old.
did too.
They have recent ones.
Yeah, they did too. You're right. And I think he even had his wife in on one. But I guess maybe I blocked it out because like they're such different human beings, and they have, beside how different they are, they have such a different understanding of the same psychological concept. You know what I mean? Like Vaknin is approaching it from the very personality that we all can't stand. Unless you are a narcissist, then my apologies. I didn't mean to offend you. But I think that Richard is always approaching it from not only a neuro-linguistic programming point of view, but I want to not be affected by this, insert his colorful language right there type of view. And they're such different points of view. I guess it's assaulting almost. It seems weird to hear both of them speaking back and forth, but it's interesting. I'll say that. Go on.
This is a preview of 2 weeks. Pattern interrupt. Or shock cognitive overload.
Listen, you've got to get in touch with your emotions. You've got to name the emotion to a nuanced level so that you can process the emotion. Otherwise, it's never going to go away and you're going to suppress it. It's going to come back. You've got to be possessed by the shadow side.
Can you hear the scouts coming out? Back?
Yeah,
Back?
I would love this kind of coaching, but he says
But
he doesn't do
you
this.
hear his accent really come out when he says that, because you can hear the northern
Listen,
English.
you've got to get in touch with your emotions. You've got to name the emotion
You've
to
got to
a
name it.
nuanced level so that you can process the emotion. Otherwise, it's never going to go away and you're going to suppress it. It's going to come back. You've got to be possessed by the shadow side.
You'll be
It
possessed.
almost sounds Welsh in some
No,
of that.
no, he's not. He's Liverpool. That's Liverpoolian.
So funny because he's trained it the other way.
No, the Beatles, when he says back, you always hear when
Yeah,
you hear
back.
Back.
back. No, that back.
So that's to
Yeah.
shift
Is
the
that
group
a-
energy.
Wow, I'm American. He just sounds high. So I'm glad to hear that there are other interpretations of that.
And then
Your
now,
voice is high, Michelle. Your voice.
No,
is
I'm from Minnesota. We make no excuses. We're
well, be aware. Maybe.
I am.
Thanks.
be aware. So, did anyone watch the bonus video? I think there's only
Real quick, how
one
recent
view.
was that interview with Richard Grannon and this delightful young chick?
Oh,
That's
this
a
one?
boy.
Pierre
I don't
is
know.
is a Vietnamese guy, but he does wear some
That's a guy?
makeup, yes.
Well, forgive me. I am so uncultured. Wow. You're kidding. He's bullshitting me. That's not a guy. Okay, very funny. You guys can all have fun with me. Is that really a guy?
It's a guy.
Yes.
Are you shitting me?
Look him
No.
up.
In my defense, I mean, if I had
He's
to
a
issue in the
gender
one
bender.
bathroom.
He's a gender bender. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, I
There's a
have.
lot of
I don't
fun
live in
stuff.
1790. Yes, I have heard of that.
What are we
He gets
talking
a lot
about?
of women.
Can we get back on track?
Thank you, Allison. And look, you get
The narcissist
Vaknin.
is disoriented.
Thank you,
He
Dave.
feels totally confused.
Volume's a little low.
Okay.
This is to open Act 2. Once you recognize language,
There is no
once you recognize
sincere
this,
communication with the insincere. There is no sincere
then
communication with the insincere.
you can
There
return
is no sincere communication
insincerity.
with the insincere. There is
You can start playing offense. You can start confusing the abuser. How do you do that? Who wants to know?
Well, I think if they have Alzheimer's and they're being played the same thing over and over for 15 minutes, that'd be a pretty easy way to confuse them. For me personally.
Yes, if they have Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
But if they're a younger abuser,
Or a
then-
younger or early onset young person who has Alzheimer's, like I took care of for my abuser actually for 4 years, but that's besides the point.
okay. Let me see if I can set this up.
Dissolve the snapshot. The narcissist
This tactic is called dissolving the snapshot. The snapshot is their picture of you that you become trapped by, their cobweb of a mischaracterization of you. And then when you feel your sense of self and their mischaracterization as too far apart, that creates cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance essentially means the bad feeling you get when your map of reality doesn't match the reality that you're.
That was last week. And once they have the cognitive dissonance, they can dump their toxic shadow onto you, and you take it. Because you thought communication was sincere, not
Narcissistic
realizing
abuse made simple. The narcissist uses words and language skillfully to attack the target's sense of self.
It was an attack
The target's sense of self is constructed from
on your sense of
language,
self,
from words, and
using
There is no sincere
insincere
communication with the insincere. There is no
insincere language.
communication with the insincere. There is no.
So this is an offensive strategy to make the abuser confused. Vaknin calls it dissolving the snapshot.
Right. But
He's
Deep, like what else
disoriented.
do they do? Like
He
sorry.
feels totally confused. Things
This
are happening and he cannot
confuse
explain
him.
them.
We want to
In his
confuse
mind, your only
the abuser.
existence is as an idealized, snapshotted internal object. And suddenly this internal object
These guys would
is
die.
autonomous, defiant, independent, has agency and self-efficacy, defies him, disagrees with him.
So defiance, that's a teaser. You have to learn how to defy the narcissist.
I'm not here to please you. It's not my problem to make you feel comfortable.
It's not your responsibility to make somebody else comfortable. They have to earn that. They can't just cry fake pity and you comfort them. Fuck
You
that.
just
You need
taking
some
off the
defiance,
video.
man. You need some fucking spine. You should fight.
Adria.
Adria, stay there.
You just did that by taking off the video of Cooper.
Yeah, don't leave though, Adria. We're all here. Deef wants us all to talk together. He's not just trying to get us to rewatch videos we've already seen.
Well, I could have been framed as saying that, but I also was trying to be mindful of trying to get to to this point. So I had a sort of catch-22 thing
I believe
of
you
whether
did.
to stay there or whether to move forward.
No, I
So
didn't.
it was a judgment call.
I wasn't upset by it. I'm just saying that basically, like, people started crying and then we took it off. It could
Where are
be
you
another reason.
from, Adria? Where are you
Yes.
from? I absolutely love
People
your
were-
accent. I'm in love with you.
People are
Wait, what
crying,
was that sound effect
but
from Deef?
it got contagious, and it's hard for
felt
me
it.
to overrun multiple contagions of crying. I've done
Deef
it
was a DJ
in
once.
person.
Deef, you were a DJ somewhere, weren't you, one time?
I've done it in person when Leslie shared her sob story, which is
What were
actually
we
a
talking
genuine
What were
story
we talking
about
Deef?
her
Was
son
that
died.
tonight? I'm sure
Not
I
tonight.
missed that.
But
That was
everyone
not tonight,
started
was it?
panicking because of her crying, which is reasonable. But she
Well,
wanted
yeah.
the meeting to go on, but everybody else was trying to soothe her.
Oh, geez,
I
when
got
did that
judgment
happen?
because I let the meeting go forward, which is what Leslie wanted. But the group was freaked out by a white girl crying.
Well, by a girl
So
crying,
what up?
dude. But by somebody crying.
A girl crying. No. Adria
Yeah.
crying. No one cares.
I don't care. But
We all care. None of us are here because we don't care about people. Those are our narcs. They're out living life, taking advantage of other people.
Now we're getting into
Yeah, well, we
injunctions.
are. We're all
Thou
here because we
shalt,
care.
thou shalt not. These are
Sam, I can't
injunctions.
see. Like the
Thou
main one who
shalt,
didn't.
thou
There's
shalt
a
not.
race is kind of a trigger for whoever this person is, and
It
so
is? Not for me.
But-
For you, probably.
Let her finish, please,
I
Michelle.
know you.
What's happening?
I don't know. We're losing signals.
People are getting
Let's all
triggered.
stop talking and be mindful. Please go ahead.
And then Sam Vaknin's face keeps popping up, and you know that's frustrating for me because I love him, but
Oh no.
I think we.
Oh no.
I think
Oh no.
it would be better
Oh,
if
no.
everyone just stopped talking for right now. I think it would be better, so that we don't hurt anyone's feelings, so we don't say anything inappropriately, so we don't speak out of turn. Let's let Deef talk, okay? Everybody, cool. I'm gonna mute everyone else.
that's fine. It is his meeting, right? She's
we've
right. It is
got
his meeting. That's
here is failure to communicate. What we've got here is failure
Moderator
to
of this
communicate.
debate, and I would like you to let me ask my question. Moderator of this debate, and I would
I
like you
pulled
to
out
let me ask
Mike
my
Wallace.
question.
Is that who he was?
Yes.
Remember that debate? So, back to trying to set up the offensive tactic. Do you guys want to get even? Do you want to confuse the abuser? Do you want to make them leave? Do you want to be free? You have to be offensive. And this is going to be a two-step strategy. And it's used before, like agree and amplify. Agree and amplify. That's part of this tactic. But let's see.
Acts in ways which undermine and challenge the internal object. And this is extremely disorienting. The more profound the gap between idealized internal snapshotted object and you, the more you draw away, the more you drift away from the idealized internal object, the more frustrated and aggressive the narcissist becomes.
So you have to make more distance from their snapshot of you. The thing is, they freak out as you get more difference, as you exert yourself as a different person. They will amplify their emotions. They will start getting anxious, confused, frustrated. That's a temporary pain. If you stay there of being different, they will have to leave. So it's a little bit of a dangerous tactic in the short term. But if you just stay steady of being different, which is just being yourself, they will fall apart.
And this is going to, he's going to express this frustration and this aggression with a torrent of negative sentences. So you should pay attention to the positive sentences and to the negative sentences.
So you need to take notes. You need to record meetings. You need to audio record conversations with your abuser and notice two things. What are the compliments? And what are the negative judgments that you need to key in on, make a list. And then what do?
You should write them down. And then what you do, you engage in defiance.
You defy, you fight, you
need some defiance, man. You need some defiance, man. You need some fucking spine. You should fight.
But you can't fight until you have defense. That's why the first part of the meeting was trying to get you aware of how your brain gets hooked, how you get cognitive overwhelm, because you don't have the first secret.
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication
get
with the
this.
insincere. There
You
is
have to
no
stop
sincere
misreading
communication with the
their insincere manipulations, outright lies, distortions. You got to stop taking that at face value.
Yeah, Deep, what is your point? You've repeated that like over and over and over. And that was a 17-minute clip that he put on that was so valuable and so pithy. He had so many great things to say. And
This is the point.
I admire you because I'm sure you speak two
This is the
languages and I
point.
only speak one.
There is no
This is the point.
communication with the insincere.
Well, I pity you.
It sounds so simple. You'll say, I got it. I've got it. But if you're thinking you got it, you probably don't.
Yeah, no, I think he would be upset if that's all you got from his 17-minute clip.
He will be coming most likely in a couple weeks. I'll record your questions. I'll ask
I'd
him.
love it because if you'd give me like 1 minute of platform, I'll tell you that what happens about 17 minutes into his video, and I made a comment about it, is he makes a really funny comment, and it's esoteric, but he basically says, sorry, your flying monkey is jumping in there to cut you off. So.
Ooh, this was good. Tell me about that.
So that's a mischaracterization to label somebody.
I was just
to
asking
try to silence them with a label.
I'm literally in the same
because
situation as all of you. I was abused
right
for
now,
8 years. Yeah, you have no idea.
And then right
It's really
here
bad.
is a hook
Right, no,
to try to control your attention by saying, I was a victim, just like you. I'm poor, pitiful me. Now I will give you directions to listen to me more, to constantly control your perception of everyone in the room.
Are you not trying to do that? Does having your own group that you pay for, or everybody listens
now here's
to
a pivot.
You gotta go.
To attack me.
Hey, yo, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta leave.
No
We don't want you
No,
here. You gotta go.
this is a perfect example.
No,
She's trying to pivot.
Go.
I'm not trying to pivot. Go for it, Deef. Go for it.
And everything
I'm not
she
trying to
does
pivot at all.
is that
Don't worry.
it's not me. I'm innocent.
Bring it.
It's somebody
I can
else.
I can
It's
handle
someone else.
anything. I've been
I
through
can
more
handle
fucking
anything.
abuse than any of you can imagine.
Now listen
Bring it.
to her
You're being very
calm
abusive in this meeting, so it seems like you're
How
learning.
Emotion.
about we
Listen
let
to
the
her.
leader
Honestly,
lead the
if I
meeting.
can say something, Michelle, if I can say
Because we're being a little disrespectful to the leader.
I
Yes.
appreciate that. Yep.
Okay, listen.
If
Michelle
I can
have her
say
own.
something.
Michelle just wants to have
Yeah, no one's listening to me. Right. I
assess it the way
facilitate
she
a
wants
lot
to.
of meetings. Right.
Why don't you bring it to the after meeting, Michelle?
Oh,
Because
I'm sorry. I didn't know that existed.
you can lecture us on what you.
I don't want to
heard,
lecture.
Valkyrie.
Listen, I apologize. This is not a good fit for me. I'm not trying to lecture. The problem with this meeting is that most
Now,
meetings I go to
right
are
here
format.
Maybe you don't
is-
like.
But you know, I think Brenda is
I got
correct.
it.
Let me just say
Most
something.
meetings I go
Here's
to
like
are a format for
200
people that
versions
actually
of the same
have
event.
something to say, and they open it up to
Can
the
I
members
ask
to
it?
speak.
Can I
Yes,
ask a
like,
question?
it doesn't look like something from Lost,
like
the Dharma Initiative.
200
playing
So when they
over
get
and over and over.
triggered, they start rewriting the story
Yeah.
on the fly. And the more they get nervous,
repeating
they
everything
keep
over and over.
rewriting the story
Well,
of
I
how
have
they're
to know
always
I am
a
sending,
victim.
because I do communicate with Richard Grannon, not so much as Sam Backman, but I do communicate with Grannon through 2 of my meetup groups. I am
And
going
they're
to
so
report
used to
you are
hogging
not
the
using
spotlight
what he says in
of
contact
the
with
internet
him. So I would look in
that
on that.
they'll
All right?
just
I have no interest
flood
in you or any of your.
the market. They'll flood the room because that's how you communicate on the
Every
internet.
group has their own culture, though. If this isn't a good fit, then so be it. It's nothing personal.
So hold on a second.
It really isn't.
So
everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome, but it's up to us to determine if it's a good fit or not.
Hi. So
Allison.
did you say something? Brenda made a comment in a chat. Can I say this, Brenda? That perhaps Michelle is a plant by Deef. You know, given the subject.
She gone? Is she gone?
Is
she gone?
Oh, she gone?
Is she gone?
Why'd you make her leave? She was a perfect example.
So she wasn't
whatever that was.
She wasn't a plant by you, Deef?
I did not plant her. How would I? How would I
She's
plan
been
that?
here before, Allison. She's been here before. This isn't her first time.
I don't
No, it's
remember
her
her
first
being
time.
like that. I don't remember her being like that, but all I know is that
It's her first time. I haven't seen her. I don't remember.
Oh, I
Her
know. I've
profile
seen
shows
that clown
15
before. I
narc
thought
groups.
it was here.
Is that a lot?
15.
15.
So let's break down why we were triggered by her. That's a good thing to do, right? Deep.
Okay.
Kidding, I'm kidding.
No, that's useful.
So
She
continue your reading, please. Continue.
she triggered buttons. Why not?
She's
May I just
bipolar.
say that you handled that exceptionally well, and you did not allow yourself to get shanghaied by the injections of, her commentary. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to perhaps be reflective and see how this is one of those moments where we can use it as a teaching tool, almost like that pink tablet years ago that you chew before going to the or when you go to the dentist, to show where you need to brush more.
Absolutely.
And maybe these are, and maybe this is for each of us who got triggered in different ways. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to be thankful, for the opportunity, the unintentional opportunity to see where perhaps greater attention is needed in eradicating, if we can, that hook for ourselves.
I'm just surprised I didn't call her a fucking cunt, which is what I wanted to do. So, but
That's what I said. You want to punch them, but since they're talking polite, you don't feel you're allowed to insult them.
Immediately noticed Adria and said, "Oh my God, I love your accent, Adria. Where are you from?"
And then she said,
Then she sent me a private message like, "Write me sometime. We can chat."
And she said that Adria clearly cared about race.
Look at her
of course
eyes.
You do. Of course you do. What the fuck is that?
No, honestly, I was curious what had triggered her. I was trying to ask her that question to her. So what? It seems that the repetition that he is doing is triggering you in somehow. Can you tell
This
me more
video-
about that?
The
Yes.
video was scripting what freaks her out. I was telling you
I was really
that she
trying
hoovers.
to hear her. Yes, to see if she would come up with the answer. But I guess I didn't have the chance to ask her that.
I noticed immediately when she joined, and she was late, wasn't she? She was one of the late.
Yes, that happens.
Usually thanked us.
They come late. They say,
come
"I'm
late.
here. I'm sorry, I'm here.
They
Let me announce that I am here."
I checked her
Everyone,
profile out,
welcome
and it
me.
had the scary clown, and I was like, "Why would you do that? Why would you?" To me, that was
Her dark
creepy.
side. That's her dark side.
That was creepy. I just knew straight away there was something
She is
creepy and
creepy.
off about her.
Look at that face.
And she got faster and faster and faster. And it was like she was bombarding us with confusion, trying to convince everyone that Deef is wrong.
Gaslighting, classic gaslighting in the group. That we're looking
Wrong about what? I didn't even know
Have
what
we
the point
became
was.
defensive?
Dissociated.
It was, let's have respect for Deef because this is his meeting. And then did she say, "I pity you"? And then she's
Yeah,
like,
she did.
I
She said,
believe
pity you.
I believe you speak at least 2 languages. and then something about pitying you, and then respect. Like, this is a pendulum. We just saw a human pendulum.
That's the opposite. You go positive, negative. So it's hard for your brain to take in both. Yeah.
And she's crazy.
How much did you pay her? Tell us.
What did you pay her?
That was too.
I did not plant her. I am not. I don't have extra
I
money.
know I've seen that clown before. I know I've seen her somewhere.
Deep, the real question is, how much would you pay someone to come into your group and do that?
That is a good question. Yes, if I had a resource.
That was
I might consider it.
Time
Yes.
person.
Yeah, it's like a plant for, like, did you notice the dancing bear? And we can use it as a teaching.
So you guys think that she's a narcissist?
Analyze some of the
her
opportunities
teeth-
to heal.
Her teeth are exceptionally white, but you can tell they're
She
blurred.
acted like one.
She
More
had
like
very
a
high
borderline.
traits.
Okay.
She had very
Because
high
I'm just
traits.
new. I've just got out of a relationship. I'm trying to learn
Yeah. She
where I
had very high
was.
traits.
She hogged
But
the
we can only
conversation.
speculate. Yeah, she
She
was.
never
yeah.
didn't give room for anybody else. Then she was giving the hoovering and the judgments, which is what Sam Vaknin says. Record them, write down every compliment, and write down every judgment. Do the opposite of every compliment, and do more of every judgment, and they will leave. That's the formula that she interrupted because she doesn't want to reflect on how she does that. That was
I think she
triggering her.
freaked out. Sorry.
But I'm gonna tell you. I know we were talking about her, but
Claudia, you'll be able to watch this again, so you'll be able to assess for yourself. And
I
as you
do.
learn,
But
yeah.
the phrase that you keep repeating that is basically like it's impossible to have a sincere conversation with the insincere.
Oh, she hated that. She targeted
Yeah,
that.
but that
Yes.
was so painful for me as well, because how many times I sat down and I'm trying to have a sincere conversation and couldn't have it, and the person was trying to have a conversation with me and say, "Are we gonna have an honest conversation?" And then I said, "Oh, so I guess we have been dating for 3 years, and I don't
Somebody's
know how honest
gaslighting you.
Yeah, so can you show me how an honest conversation looks like?" So that phrase really triggered me because it's like, oh my God, I have been doing that the whole time. So that's why I was curious why she was, I don't want to say overreact, but react really strong on that comment. Because I'm gonna tell you,
This comment is judgmental.
There is no sincere communication.
What's the judgment?
There is no sincere communication with
that's
the
like the
insincere.
Pac-Man for me, the Pac-Man song. That's kind of
It's judgmental.
go throughout
It's saying
my spine, my nervous system. It's
insincere
crazy.
conversation should be judged harshly. That's the message.
Yep.
Yes.
And Claudia, it triggered you because someone always said to you, "Are we going to have an honest conversation?" And you were having the honest conversation, but they weren't. So you were gaslighted. So
Oh,
this
that's
just happens to be
dissonance.
something that triggered you in this case. Why it
I'm
triggered
new
her,
to
we don't
this,
know.
guys, and yeah, so I was trying to ask her that question.
It
'cause
triggered her
seems to me
because
that
she
she's
didn't come here with
overreacted.
sincerity. She came here to be insincere.
She
And
was
she
insincere.
Certainly was, yeah, she
You
certainly
saw
was
it.
attacking people.
I don't know. You know,
She freaked out finally when I
I'm
said,
still kind of new to this, but I'm still curious, you know. But
Are
it's,
you
you guys
triggered
said that she came here
by
before.
Michelle's anger?
yeah, because I was never triggered by her
Absolutely,
anger.
yes.
When I said to her, "You can lecture later," then she went off. That was it. That was like the final thing.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you
because
all.
you use the word lecture, it's kind of microaggression in a
Well,
way.
no,
Yeah, I
it's honest.
escalated
No, it was
with her.
honest.
I
It was
escalated.
honest.
I matched her because she was lecturing. She was lecturing Deef and saying, "Deef, how dare you take Richard Grannon's video and bring it down to 3 sentences and hand it to us." And Deef has a reason for doing that. And this is his group. And she didn't stick around to find out. This is Deef's format. She's
Holly,
new, and this is his format.
Holly, I completely agree with you. Definitely agree with you. Because in the beginning, I was so annoyed. I said, when are we gonna go to the meat of the situation? Why are we keeping like bullying one another? But then you
See,
guys
that's your
explained to me-
instinct.
Yes.
Your instincts are good, but you were doubting it because Michelle was just rewriting the story. constantly trying to get you to track her version.
I was trying to figure out if she come from a trauma-bound situation and
She's
to
a
understand where she
meetup
comes
organizer.
from. Yes.
She hosts a support group.
I have to find her.
What
Can you?
the
I have
hell?
to find her. I'm gonna find her right now.
I've warned you.
I what I wanted to say was, this is what I wanted. I was trying to say.
This is
There were so many
her
people.
co-organizer group.
What kind of support group?
Healing from narcissistic abuse.
So how could anyone talk? How could anyone fucking talk in that meeting? First of all, I don't believe it. Second of all, what I
Go
want to
visit her
say
group.
was that
I don't know.
I think the rest of us, what I was getting a little about is, look, Deep always has a way that he maestros this whole thing. He's got clips that he shows us, that he's shown us a million times, but they all do tie together. So I know that it gets frustrating sometimes, but I want to say that what I was getting pissed about was that I thought she was complaining that she had seen the same thing twice. But and I don't know if anyone else did, but like from now on, like, let's let Deef. It's hard enough to be him. Let's not get upset with him when he shows us things, because it has a point for some reason, and it'll help us.
It does. In the
Yes, but it was.
I completely agree to you, Brenda. It does.
I need the repetition, because without the repetition, it doesn't sink in.
Because we
just
have been
need it.
conditioned so many times. And condition goes through happen through repetition, right?
Well, it's repetition and exposure.
Yeah, I
Adria.
need the repetition.
I love the
Full
format.
stop.
Personally.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really
It's
helps
perfect.
me.
You
Adria.
hooked me in, so I want to come back.
Adria.
I'm just
Go.
Brenda, were you talking about my mentioning the video?
Well, you mentioned it because you were
Brenda.
like, not this again. This is going to make me cry, but you meant it like.
No, I didn't say not this again. I was just saying that that's what we did before. I wasn't upset about it. I was upset with
No, I wasn't talking. Yeah, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about how she reacted to what you said. Because you were like, you were gonna. Your point was very Adria. Like, we've been here, like, you know. But hers was, why you keep showing this? By the way, there's this other snippet that you should move forward to. Can I have the floor for a minute, even though I've already had it for 10? And that was the difference.
She totally tried to hijack the entire meeting. That's what it felt like.
Because she was triggered.
Yeah, she
'Cause
got triggered by your definition of cognitive dissonance. Remember that?
That
She
too.
said, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. And then you played the tape where Richard Grannon explains it.
Well,
and that's
yeah,
when
he
she
explained
really
it.
got
Yeah.
escalated. She
Because
didn't like
Richard
the fact that
Grannon
you got
was her
facts.
cover. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm with Richard Grannon. That's my expertise. But then when I have a Richard Grannon quote, she can't counter it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, so the point of like going through and talking about the triggers, I feel like we're doing it, right? So should we start like cataloging them?
That's your emotional literacy. What triggered you from her? And oops.
How long took us to
Her.
react to her?
Look at that face. Look at that soul.
It didn't
That's
take long.
what I saw immediately when she
Look at
came
her
in.
teeth. They're totally smudged out, which means she whitened them on the.
I don't care about how
Look
she
at
looks.
the anxiety.
It's
She's
the eyes.
hunting for a
Yeah.
reaction.
Very intense.
Oh,
Yeah.
I texted Kurt. I'm not trying to one up you all. Like the first second, I freaking knew. I'm like, oh my god, right? I'm like, she's triggering me.
After she left, you should have given that survey, man.
Oh, she missed the survey. And then I said, too bad.
Can you imagine working with her? Really lock her in a closet. I'd be like, you can't talk anymore. Bye. Oh, hey, what? Oh, you go to that meeting and don't say a word. And here is a big muzzle.
But
Good
she
day.
is locked in the closet with that clown.
So let's
You know,
add
Come
some
to
more
a narcissist
context.
abuse recovery
Wait, I'm
meeting
sorry.
with a clown like that.
Wait, Adria.
Jimmy, I just opened the chat and read it. And she said, let's see, she said, this group is not healthy. Wait, she says, hey, contact me sometime if you'd like to chat. This group is not healthy. And then she
she's
gives
trying to poach.
number.
Yeah.
And she says, any therapist on earth, if they heard this, will report this to whoever they thought would listen. Oh, you going to the police?
For what?
Adria, she needed a token black female in her group.
No, token my ass. She made a racial comment to Adria. Hey, yeah. Oh, Adria, I'm sure I know you care about race. My face.
I think we all do.
I was like, what? And I think it was right after that. I was like, okay, you have to go. Like, you have to go.
No, we don't exile.
No, it was then when I said I think everyone should mute their.
We make them leave.
Fucking microphone.
We don't need to ban them. We just get annoying.
For the record, I just told didn't point her out, but I said so we don't hurt anyone else's feelings, and so we can let Deef run the meeting. Let's all kaipe la boca, right? I did that because she pissed me off, Adria. I was scrappy dog on that. It pissed me off.
Own that trigger. Own that disgust.
I've never heard you say mindful. And then
Own that fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did that trigger me?
Now this is useful here. This might make sense now to try to bring some clarity. This part, it's only 30 seconds.
Only the authentic are interested in their emotions, because only the authentic are interested in themselves.
Only the authentic are interested in themselves. What's the inauthentic? What's the insincere?
You say, well, narcissists are self-centered. And I would say, no, they're not. They're others-centered.
That's the key. Narcissists are others-centered.
That was my whole point about
They're
that woman.
others-centered. They're reaction-centered.
They're
only thing that
reaction
they have
centered.
is the reactions of others.
So what we saw with Michelle is she was other-centered and trying to control everyone in this group. 20 people. She had so much hubris to want to control everybody in this group's reaction because they're other-centered. They use I a lot, but they're other-centric. And they're reaction-focused. That's her eyes with this.
This helps me a lot. This really
Her
helps me a
eyes
lot.
are looking for your reaction. She's trying too hard. That's a tell. There's too much tension and anxiety in the eyes, trying to control other people's reaction. That's why they're anxious. That's why you get anxious when they talk to you, because you feel their anxiety.
That's
You
what the
feel their
clown is
judgment.
about.
I was just going to say that, Juliana. You see the eyes and the smile on the clown, but they're dead eyes, you know? Same
Yeah.
as the clown. I was just thinking the same thing, Juliana.
That's good too. They're
Hey,
dead.
Deef, can next week's meeting be about how to identify crazy eyes?
It's easy for me. I don't know. I don't know how to do a roadmap, but we'll try to include that as a portion. Crazy eyes.
I'll tell you how, Jeff. If you put your hand up over the nose and just look at the eyes, and if they scare you, they're crazy, right? Take the smile away, and if the eyes scare you, they're crazy. There you
That's
go.
what my eyes looked like after the narcissist abuse. Okay, they've calmed down, but yeah.
Okay, Holly.
Or how about incongruent facial features? The eyes don't match the smile.
That's fakeness.
Exactly. Yeah.
Inconsistency.
The dissonance.
Oh, I like that term. It's new. Incongruent facial features.
Smile to me doesn't look like a smile because I have facial problems understanding people's faces, recognizing. The smile to me looks like a grimace. It looks like a pain.
leer. Lear.
Lear. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Can I?
Juliana, you could, if you would like to.
Do incongruent facial
explain that.
features if you try.
Juliana, just explain
Yeah.
that you're on the spectrum, and so your ability to see things that we neurotypicals can't see is heightened.
I don't want to say suffer, that's not the word. I have prosopagnosia, which means I can see the details in the face, but I can't put the face together as a whole. So I can't recognize people's faces. It takes me time. It takes me the same amount of time to recognize a face as it does to draw a face from every detail. So I recognize people. I recognize people from their ambulation, the way they gesture, the way they move, the tone of their voice. I see the silhouette of them as an identification, the hair, the earrings they wear, the t-shirt, the colors they wear. That's how I identify people. Yeah.
It's so just I used to have cataracts in both eyes, and I got them, surgery. And just this morning, I was remembering that that's how I also used to see people. It's fun, everything that you said, because I have the ability to see details. That's cool.
It's amazing because I love looking at details, and when I am talking with a narcissist, it's really funny because I can't look them in the eye. I'm studying their mouth. I'm studying the way
can see.
one
It's
corner.
just the name a narcissist.
One corner of their mouth usually is more emotional than the other corner, and it doesn't match. It's really weird.
Incongruence.
That's why I said incongruent.
You need to draw that. You need to draw what that looks like.
Yeah, I will. I will, because it's fascinating how.
But if you can, I know you're good, but just like give us an idea of what that looks like in the mouth.
Yeah, it's amazing when you can see these details and people say, "You're not autistic. You can look me in the eye."
You need some defiance.
It's not that. We're paying attention to the details, the nerve in the neck.
Take notes. Pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Notice the inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
The differences.
And you can see
That'll
something up here and something in the corner of the mouth. It's interesting.
So how do we wrap this up? Who understood, or who still has lingering issue with the case study of Michelle, which I did not plant.
Yeah.
First time I saw her.
That was beautiful. That was so perfect.
That's why I have part 2 in 2 weeks, because I thought I need more time.
Gosh, you're teasing us, making us wait for the part 3. I picked up on that.
May I ask a
I
question?
only said 2. I don't know if there's a part 3. Claudia.
So I'm just curious for your perspective, from Michelle and hear our reactions. What did you learn from us or from this group today?
Me?
Yes, I'm just curious about that. Because you say, even though you didn't plant her, but all those people are here longer than I have been. And she came in, and it seems that you're well knowledge on the subject of narcissism. So how was this experience for you as a facilitator of this group and also a researcher?
Great question.
Sorry, what was the question? Could somebody write it for me? Thank you.
Someone type it.
That was shallow.
What was my
That was a great
experience?
question.
Really great question.
I was surprised.
Really,
not my plant.
I didn't hear
You
the
guys
question.
saw
I really need help. Thank
my
you.
plant.
I'll text.
Claudia
I'll
wants to
text
know
you.
my reaction.
What was Steve's reaction?
What did I learn? And I sometimes take 3 days to process. So it's a bit early for me to evaluate what I learned. But I was surprised. I did sort of see her escalating some. And someone said that, is that Monica? but the voice was different. I knew Monica's voice, and the style was different.
Was my like feeling of fighting with her, is that being triggered? Like, that's the first thing I wanted to do. I want her to like shut up, and like
I told you earlier in the meeting that what they do is they act nice, but then you want to punch them. But you doubt yourself. You override your instincts because they're talking nice, or they're seeing you can't see it.
They're pretending to be nice.
They're pretending. They're insincere.
There is no sincere.
That's why
communication with
she
the
got
insincere.
pissed
There is
off
no
from this.
sincere
I was repeating this, and she was taking it personal.
I was creeped out the moment she came in the meeting late with a strange picture. And I'm trying to recall the moment that I really wanted to punch her. And I think it was when she said something to someone about their accent, and she was sweeting up to them, and it was just disgusting, and I wanted to punch her. So that was a trigger for me. The second trigger for me that triggered my mutism inside, I could feel it, my brain was just burning up, was the confusing fast talk that was highly emotional, like a turbulent river that I can't swim through. I can't swim through that, and therefore I can't talk.
Her pacing was really fast.
She
and it wasn't
sort of escalated.
Even. I was trying to point that out at the end of saying,
We're just coked out.
notice how calm I am, but notice how her emotions are out the wazoo.
She
I
started
do have a
at the
concern,
point
though.
of pity.
Concern, Claudia.
I will talk after Juliana. I will talk after you.
Okay, Juliana, finish.
Okay, the moment she went into a turbulent river of emotions was, I pity you. And I just, inside my mute, started laughing because she just went off.
Yeah, but then she flip-flopped. I wanted to punch her way before that.
It was so aggressive.
She wouldn't stop fucking talking.
How do you
She's
have all
hogging.
these queued up, Deef? My gosh.
I just like that Deef said wazoo. That's my word. Thank
You know, I think
50 weeks of
Steve,
practice.
you handled it well.
And then all of her inappropriate, this is Allie, all of her inappropriate projections, and she used the term flying monkeys. Was she talking to one of us?
Adria. She was talking to Adria, which is when I was like, you gotta go.
Yeah, because it became like a double entendre. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you saying?
You gotta
What are you
go.
saying? And
But-
Deef called her out though, you know, and
Things
I
are
really
fun.
appreciate you having that standard of ethics in the meeting. And so you did a great
Can we get
job.
your flying monkey shirt?
We forgot Claudia.
No, let
Claudia was teed up.
James go. James has not spoken yet. Go,
Okay, James.
Yeah. Wow, thank you. I was just gonna say when she really lost control there, it was because she didn't have control. It was the very typical narcissist thing that she just didn't have control of the conversation anymore. She did for a little bit, and that's when she just went crazy.
I was also poking
her.
her.
And
Also
everybody,
said she had a minute, and people gave her a minute, and I was like, no, you're not gonna get a minute. Like, everybody was pretty quiet, and so because I wouldn't shut up is when she started getting pissed. I wouldn't give her a minute. I didn't really like that.
Fuck her. Yeah. Claudia, you
Yes.
still want to jump in?
I'm not new here, so I don't know much about narcissism. I think we are in this group in order to learn, at least me, I'm in this group to learn more about it. And I just heard about Monica, and then this person come in, and what to make us, who are us?
Codependence.
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes what I'm trying to say is, perhaps she got triggered as well.
She
And
did.
trigger, what a trigger
Yeah.
is. Trigger connect us to a feeling, would
Yes.
lead us to an emotion that lead us to how would we say, a action that happened to us in our timeline until we become an
Flashback.
adult. Yes. So there's
Mhm.
a lot of pain right there.
Trauma, pain.
Yes,
Yes.
trauma, and we can say little t, middle t, and big T's. We don't
Well,
know.
she started
So
talking
she
about.
did start it, but sometimes I feel like a survivor as well, Holly. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sometimes I feel that I just jump into conclusion before allowing the person to explain themselves.
Okay.
Well, no.
I don't know that
conversation.
I just like to finish my thought. Like right now, I'm just feeling really attacked right now. Just
Go.
saying it. So sometimes we are trying to explain, and like I said, that phrase for me it's gonna be with me. That I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's gonna be with me the whole week, and I'm gonna replay that. But that's what I went through with my mom, and that's what I went through in my past relationship. I don't know what triggered that person. I don't know if she's gonna be okay after this. I don't know if this has been implanted or not implanted. I hope it's not been planted, because what's the point of triggering all of us? Trigger doesn't bring us anything pleasurable. My brain is gonna be overwhelmed. I will have to find a way to soothe myself after we turn off this meeting. And it seems that we all have been triggered. Do we want to be triggered, or we want to recognize our triggers and be able to use a healthy coping skills in order to continue our lives?
I think one of the coping skills is being able to come down when you're triggered, right? I think it's good to be
Yes, but it
exposed to
seems that everyone here have been triggered in a way that we have
Everybody.
to defend. Yes, and we have
All
to
25?
defend death. Eve. How do you pronounce your name, man?
Long
Deef.
Deef.
I'd like to hear Holly. Holly, what's your insight, please?
Well, I was just trying to share that she made comment about the way he runs the group, and she said, "I've been to groups, blah 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 blah, and I run a group myself. I run my group the way I see fit. There are lots of narcissist abuse recovery meetings, and they run them the way they see fit. This is Deef's meeting, and the fact that she was challenging him, and she did not let up. And I knew Deef could handle it. You know, Deef could handle what she brought. Every other people didn't like the way she was attacking him, but I knew Deef could handle it. But, you know, people want to get on with the study in the meeting, and Deef has a protocol that he follows, and she was not going along with it. And people were calling her out because she's not going along with the protocol.
Definitely agree with you, but he's being a leader of this group. Was supposed for him to step up and say, "Hey, knowing
What
you
should I have
guys."
done?
No, he's a
No.
facilitator.
Now it's just playing with words right now.
He's a facilitator.
What should I have done?
No,
What's
you're a
the
facilitator.
expectation?
Let Claudia and Deef have it out. Go ahead.
What should I have done differently?
I'm not saying that we should or should not, but if
Okay.
I'm a facilitator in a group, I need to make sure that the people who attend the group, they feel safe, and they can can express themselves and not feel attacked. I don't need to defend my leader. I don't have to defend you. It's not
I
my
didn't
job
ask-
to defend you.
I didn't ask
Yes,
people to
you did
defend
not
me.
ask.
Did
So
I?
that's why. That's the reason. I don't know why I'm defending her, but that's the reason that she said that we all fly monkeys. And I know where she's coming
I
from.
was a flying monkey. She said I was.
No, she said you guys are flying monkeys.
No, she
Okay,
said
we
you're flying monkey.
At the
We
same
have the
time,
recording.
yeah.
She was talking about Adria.
And the thing is, when we step to save someone, we kind of prevent a harm to come, right, to that person. But if we do that over and over again, when that person is going to learn the skills to save themselves.
But I wasn't trying to save Deef. I was just trying to shut her up. I don't know what other people were doing. I'm talking for myself. My goal was not to save Deep. Deep is
So
in his
right
house.
now, I can see, Adriana, what you're doing is you're still trying to protect your action, which is okay. Definitely okay. But you thought that was appropriate at the moment. In order to make sure that Deep will continue doing his work. But me, as an outsider, I think that was his job.
My job to
Man, it's just fucking playing with me right now.
No, he's not. So
He is. It's just like your job, my job. I think you should take some responsibility and accountability to make sure that everyone in the group feels safe.
You should have muted her.
That's the message.
No, I don't think
I did not do enough to make everybody, all 25 people in the room, feel safe.
That's
I did
not your. It's
do
not
enough.
your job to make us feel safe.
I disagree with that. That's not Deef's job.
It's not your job to feel
he's
safe.
not even a paid position.
Y'all don't have to defend Deef. Deef can defend himself.
Jeff is raising.
I think that's kind of
his hand.
agree.
You said
so. I do want to hear himself.
The point is for us
to
all
defend
to learn
himself,
ourselves
because
to
that's why I asked him what was his reaction when she came in. And he said, I do need time to process that in order to give that answer to you. So I'll be back on the next group, on the following group, because I want to hear his. He's going to have like a week, 2 weeks to process it. I just want to hear, because I don't think that I will.
Are you saying that you don't feel safe, Claudia? Is that where you're at right now? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so start from there.
Holly, let's just finish. I want to hear his perspective. Yes, and I just want to hear his perspective on this, because if we are being recorded, it's going to be posted on Facebook, whatever he want to do it. I want to know what is the point of this and what are we learning throughout the process. And what are the information that he's gathering? Because if this is gonna cause me more harm than good, then I have to say that's not a group for me.
That
That's all I have
any
to say.
This can happen in any group, though, Claudia. You know.
No. I'm open. Yeah. I'm open. Listen, English is my second language.
Two people.
So I am open.
Se você quer
I am open.
Vou falar com você.
No, Adrian, listen, I am open, but if he's a facilitator of the group, I need to know his opinion about Michelle and how he felt it, because we talk about our triggers, and I haven't heard him talk about his triggers.
Michelle, I own up.
Thank you.
I planted her. I paid her.
I know.
$100.
Other people. Jeff had a question.
Jeff.
I can say that it'd be very dismissive.
I think you're asking a lot of a facilitator.
Oh, hey, you guys. Deep just said, Jeff, go, and then you guys started talking. So can someone else ask a question? With luck. Seriously.
Okay, so Claudia, thank you for joining. You're new here, and it's really, we appreciate your perspective, but I just wanted to try to give you another angle on things. As somebody who's been coming to this specific group for a long time, Deef feels really strongly that instead of creating safe spaces or doing gray rock or cutting and running from a narcissist, we should try to find a way to engage them. And it's very difficult, and it's very risky for those who don't really know what they're doing. But that's his angle that he sort of preaches. And I think what he was trying to do today was he was trying to show us how you can safely engage with and perhaps even disengage a narcissist.
Make them leave.
Can
Allison.
I also add something?
Allison had her hand up. We'll give her, because we'll give a 7 o'clock formal cutoff. Allison.
Okay.
What he said, but one thing, Claudia, for what it's worth, I don't think you're listening. I don't think you're receptive to feedback. I'm going to call you on it. Call me any name you want. I don't care. I mentioned narcs joined the group. I said that early on.
Wow.
No, I did early on, didn't I, Deef?
I know.
Yes.
Yep,
I heard
you
that.
did. Yeah,
and
I was fascinated.
I want to talk about, just real quick, Claudia, about somebody mentioned about your own perceptions. So a couple of weeks ago, Juliana joined. Juliana, can I say this? And I hated her.
Please, go ahead.
I hated her. It took 6 hours. Deef will attest to this. And it took 6 hours. Right, Deef? And I realized she's the most authentic person. She presented like a narc. I'm sorry, that's my baggage and my judgment saying that.
That's fine. That's fine.
And she is not the most authentic person. And I'm a better person, and I feel, for being wrong about Juliana. Sometimes it takes time, Claudia. Okay, but the narcs that come are not receptive. If you spend the time and invest it, people who present like narcs, sometimes they're the authentic ones, and they're worth the time, and they learn, and they're receptive. But the narcs don't learn. They shut you down. They leave. Over. Bye.
Everyone that comes to the meeting has something to share, and especially when maybe it's their first meeting, depending on where they're at in their journey, they have something that they want to share. I'm glad that we're here to listen to it, right? Because we all can get something, and depending on where they're at, some people want to share more, right? So the difference between many people, including Juliana, including myself, and what we just observed was that wasn't share about self. That was share about contradiction of entirety. It didn't matter what anybody said. She was contrary, and that's what the difference was, right? Like wanting to share your personal story with relation to the content. That's what everybody has done here at different paces. But being contrary over and over again is different, and I think that that's something that maybe not only triggered us all, but also is a good huge red flag for incoming narc alert, monkey, whatever you want to call it, clown alert, pickles. Right? I don't know.
Does Ali want to go next?
Thank you so much. This is only my second meeting, and this is really directed to no one in particular, other than to say, I think that we each have free will and the ability to exercise self-determination. And so far, I think you facilitate a fantastic meeting. You do a great job. And I love the opportunities that always arise. You have a very unique approach to facilitating and holding space for exactly. And so the thing is, it's refreshing. It's not going to fit everyone. However, I felt that I owed it to myself to kind of trust the process. And it was for me to decide, just like for Michelle or anyone else. Not everything fits everyone, and that's okay. It's not meant to. And to the extent that it fits us and we feel aligned with it, and you know, it feels comfortable, and we feel that we're gaining and growing more than we're not, then I don't know what else should be the expectation. I don't think it's appropriate to project onto you, Deef. Not that I'm defending you. You don't need me to do
No, everything is my fault.
No.
I am
yes, of course it is your
master manipulator.
Yeah, and so the thing is, I think it's important to be mindful to hello. I think it's mindful to understand that this is not a paid position. You know, I'm grateful for your gifting us with your time and talents. And there are a lot of resources out here. And I think it's our job to be self-responsible, to really grow ourselves up. And that's not a slam. It's just, I'm speaking to myself. It's my job to grow myself up and to work on myself. And if I feel aligned with group A over group B, then so be it. But it's not my job to hold to task the facilitator of group B and give them a whole litany of projects to do when maybe it just may not be the best fit at the time, because we're constantly evolving, and depending on where we are in our healing and our consciousness, we're going to feel aligned with various groups over others. But it's not my job to hold facilitators to task, to have them to report to me, you know, what it is I'm projecting onto them that I feel they should be doing. That's not my job.
I would like to add something.
Allison had her hand up. Do you want to add on or not, Allison?
Oh, and in closing, and this is Allie again, in closing, that can happen to any group. That's part of life. And so I'm actually grateful for the teaching opportunity that it presented in a very unique package. So, you know, I'm sitting with myself, allowing myself to dig deeper and to dive a little deeper and inquire and engage in that self-inquiry. What about that allowed me to see some areas that perhaps could use a little bit more attention? It's not Deep's job to tell me, you know, write a dissertation on what he gained from it, but maybe in his sharing, allow myself to explore those areas within myself that could use more attention.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're getting close to a time boundary, so I extended it to 7:05. So people who need to go, feel free. We're just unpacking. Claudia has a hand up. Anybody else who hasn't talked much has a hand up?
I
Giuliani,
just wanted to mention.
James. Wait, anybody else? We got 3. Any other takers? Okay. Who wants to go first? Claudia, James, or Juliana?
Can I go first, James? Or Juliana? Go, Juliana.
Okay, so this is my 3rd week here, and I wanted to express the reason why I'm coming. The first week I came into the group was because Deep presented to the world a visual way for me to navigate my emotions. I had discovered there was a lot of anger inside of me. I have a disability to understand cognitively my emotions. So I wanted to find out the source of that anger because I've been not antisocial, but I have been insulated for the last 2 years. I've not met with anyone or interacted with anyone for 2 years. And I need to get back into society, but I'm triggered a lot and I need to identify when I'm being triggered because I can't identify my emotions. So I don't know when I'm being triggered. I just get a feeling that there's something wrong. And the other problem that comes with the triggers is that I go mute. And it's like, I need to practice this in real life and get triggered, literally get triggered and fight through it. And cognitively rewire myself to be able to identify and work through it and keep my voice because I'm tired of being a mute. And that's why I keep coming. I got an experience today where I felt the trigger. I felt it come from this Michelle. And I connected with that feeling. And I couldn't talk. And I knew that feeling inside me was, I'm a mute right now. I can't speak. But if I can connect with that, then I can find a way of talking and being annoying to the narcissist and making them go away.
Okay. Thank you. Claudia, James, who wants to go? You 2 choose.
Okay, I'll jump in. This is my 2nd time here also, and Deep, I think you're great. Jeff had mentioned that you're a proponent to confronting narcissists, which I was thinking when this woman was speaking that it was just a perfect example of why you want to disconnect from narcissists and have no confrontation with them at all. And I thought it was very relieving when she left the group because it just goes nowhere when you're in a confrontation with a narcissist. So, but I appreciate that when you're in a relationship and you're stuck having to communicate, it's just a difficult thing. But I thought she was a really good example of where it just is exhausting. And definitely was taking me back a little bit to how exhausting it can really be. How to communicate with somebody. In fact, and briefly, I'll just say that with some of this other stuff we were talking about, one of the advantages of having living communication going on with the narcissist is that they still trigger you in the living communication, but then, and you really want to respond back right away sometimes. But when it's lit-in, you can sometimes realize how you're being drawn into it, and then just stop and not get drawn in. So anyways, Keith is great, and so find
Thank you.
very helpful. This woman, I thought, just kind of was an example of where things were kind of leading anyway, so it was perfect in some ways. That's it.
Claudia.
I mean, I think this is
2
like
minutes.
immersion, therapy. Like if you're afraid of heights, it's just throw you right there and they have to deal with whatever is coming. So that's what I felt what this group was today. Because I guess it's like I'll be back, but I have to realize that's not a safe place. It's just like anybody can show up, they can tell you anything that you wanna say, and we're gonna be triggered again. And I just wonder where the healing is coming. If you keeping trigger and triggering and trigger again, so
Yes.
your brain is always in a hypervigilance mode. So when you're able to decrease your nervous system and be able to go through healing, because I don't want to defend myself against another narcissist. I don't want to have that experience again. I created an aversion to that. So if I create an aversion to that, I recognize the red flags. I think that's the point, right? We come here to recognize red flag, recognize the trigger, recognize the inner child wounds that we have to work on it, and start promoting healing. I don't think that was really healing, except that phrase that I'm gonna talk with my therapist about it. I loved it. That was like, because how many times I tried to prove myself that I was trying to be honest. Except that. I'm not saying that this was not a great group. What I'm trying to say is, where is the healing on this? Because I'm really worked up right now. My nervous system is really high right now.
Can I
Because
offer
we have
some
to fight
perspective?
it. Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, I bet maybe a year ago, if that would have happened, I would have felt the same, and I maybe even would have fought with her directly. I'm like, who do you think you are, right? But instead, tonight, from my perspective, right, looking back on it, and even in the moment, all I wanted was for the content to be able to be shared, because I was like, we were all gaining something from it, and I also wanted my people to not be offended further. And so instead of being like, you're rude, you're a piece of what, like I wanted to be like, you're like, what's wrong with you? Like dig into her. But instead I just was like, mute your microphone, blah, blah, blah. And then when she got really bad, I just said, can you please leave? Like, now I think it's time for you to go. I think that in the case of narcissism and presentation of them in the world, for me, that's way different than I would have handled it. For me, I feel like it taught me that I'm not going to take that shit anymore. I'm just not. Like, if you don't show up with a responsible attitude and act like an adult and you act like a fucking narc, then it's gonna, you know what I mean? So it's going to, my point is,
Brenda, I think that's fantastic what you said, but
you'll get there.
Yeah, but why should we stay? I think in my mind we should
30
all have
second
left.
add on.
No, why should we leave? This is our group, right? No one should
We accept her.
Go back and watch Deep's videos. Go on Visceral Gravitas and watch his video.
I'm not targeting him. I'm not targeting him. I'm not targeting him.
We're trying
You
to
asked why do you want to be in this group? I'm telling
But
you, because
aren't you?
Steve has stuff to teach us. If you go back and
finish
watch his
the
You
videos,
listen
formal.
you'll
to
learn.
feedback, Claudia.
But
I'm
Listen
not
let's
to feedback.
targeting him. I'm just,
let's
I'm not
give
targeting him.
a final closing chance for Iman if you want to jump in, or we'll stop the
Sure.
formal session. Iman, go.
So, a few things. Part of it, talking about safe space. This person who was in this room was not our parents or girlfriend or wife or husband or spouse or whatever. She was here and she went away. There was no danger. But it did provide opportunity for us. I mean, I was on mute and just listening to this, and you can just kind of see how this back and forth was happening and the tactics they're using and observe it. Yeah, it's triggering, but it's the opportunity to get triggered in a safe space and realize why you're getting triggered, trying to think through that, and also see the dynamic of how these conversations happen. Because when you're in that relationship yourself and experiencing it, you get emotional because it's directed right at you and you can't necessarily see it. As well as if it's some stranger. Now, I understand that it was triggering just watching and experiencing this. You want to jump in and save Deef or protect someone else or say what you want to think, but you don't necessarily have to. You could just sit back and observe.
So what's the name of the movie Clock Orange? Like, you guys know what I'm talking about? I feel that I'm in that movie right now, so I'll be back. This kind of hardcore stuff. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'm not saying I'm not
Clockwork
gonna be
Orange,
back.
yeah.
Yes.
That's funny. How did that?
That's the way. That's where I feel that I am right now. I'm just not
What
drinking
did
milk.
Michelle trigger everybody with?
Yes, Jeff. Basically, it was like, whoa, what's happening?
You have to
I
watch
loved
the
it.
recording.
Okay, I will watch. That's fascinating. All right.
Allie.
Yeah. Don't
Finale.
Thank you so much, Steve. You know, as I was also reflecting and I was on mute for the entire time she was speaking, it reminded me of being in a living, real-time laboratory where we're able to engage in the trigger. We had a subject, unintentional. I truly believe she was not a plant. However, we're able to engage in this beautiful, very rich textural situational autopsy and really dissect the elements. And to me, that's where the growth is. I'm not interested in showing up to a group just to be safe. And please understand, I'm not projecting one to anyone, and certainly not you, Claudia. I'm saying for myself, my observations, many of us have been to many groups over the years and have tried on many therapies, and I'm new to this whole world of NPD, or narcissistic abuse recovery work. I'm new to this group. I'm new to this world. And what I am fully intending is to live the best life of my choosing. I'm not able to do that staying contracted in a bubble and away from triggering events. I choose to learn the skills to be masterful so that I can navigate the waters. It's almost like I don't ever want to learn to swim. So please don't ever put me in a situation where I run the risk of capsizing in a boat or falling in. And I love the water. I want to swim. I want to be able to be one with nature and not stay sheltered and safe and small. And that's all I want to say. I think this was a beautiful opportunity to learn in a very unconventional way, but in a real life, real time, in our face way, triggers and all, dissecting it in a group with beautiful support, people chiming in and seeing that I survived and I came through with insights and more skills than I had coming in.
Maybe
And
now
on
we can
time.
all join her group and mess up her group.
Okay.
That's all, folks.
Formal recording over.